Started reselling in college, actually. My buddy put me on to the shoe game. So I was originally just selling like Jordan releases, Yeezys, anything that was really profitable. I sold Nintendo Switches for a little while.
It's so true. If something goes viral on TikTok, like it just instantly becomes something to sell.
It was like a perfect formula for absolute craziness.
That's why I always preach people to start out with like Dollar Tree is where I started out, because it's cheap items. If you're gonna make a mistake, it's better to do that on $1 item than like $100 item. And cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome back to the Bois podcast. I'm your host, Logan. I'm joined by my lovely, studly co-host, Cisco the Goat. We also have a special guest here today, Donald at BC Kicks. What's going on, Donald? Thanks for being here.
What's going on, guys? Thank you
Not
for
to
having
be
me.
confused with Donald Glover.
Awesome. So yeah, Donald, just go ahead and kind of give us your background to start us off.
Yeah, so started reselling in college, actually. My buddy put me on to the shoe game. So I was originally just selling like Jordan releases, Yeezys during like the COVID market and anything that was really profitable. I sold Nintendo Switches for a little while. Did that for a bit and eventually decided I wanted to transition into Amazon because I just saw the opportunity that was available. Started about a year and 2 months ago. We've been selling on Amazon and we're full-time now. So
Awesome.
So, question: how did you like find out about like StockX? Can you like kind of go a little deeper into like that whole time period of your life and stuff? Because I don't know. I feel like StockX was actually a cool thing to do. I just never did it.
It really was during that time, especially during COVID too, man. The market was just all over the place. So there was a lot of opportunity. In college, I was into those hype shoes, but I never could really figure out how to get them. And a buddy came in that day wearing some Jordans, and I like just started talking to him like, man, how are you getting these releases and stuff? And he started telling me about how to get like put in reservations through like the Foot Locker apps, get the sneakers app. So that's how I started there. And just some of these shoes were doing ridiculous prices because they were so hard to get that you could immediately turn around the second you got them and sell them on places like StockX or GOAT and turn your money over same day. So that was what I started doing. Shout out Alvin. He helped me out get in the game. So yeah.
So with like sneaker sales, like how was like, because I'm oblivious to the whole sneaker game. Like I'm a sandals, Teva, Crocs guy, and they're just basic. But like, what are like the margins on like StockX? At least when during COVID and stuff like that.
During COVID, they were really good because there was also like a TikTok trend going on where just Jordan 1s especially were in the highest demand that we've ever really seen. And then there was a Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix. It was like a perfect formula for absolute craziness. So I eventually learned like some of these Jordan drops that like Foot Locker was getting, you could just walk in the store, pick up a pair of Jordan 1 mids and sell them and sometimes double your money. So you'd pay 90 up to 99 depending on your tax. And you could sometimes flip them after payout for like close to $200. Wow. So that was really how I just got the cash flow starting to go.
So I definitely wanted to touch on something that you said that like, on TikTok, like stuff went crazy and like that's kind of what propelled some of the sales. And like, it's so true. If something goes viral on TikTok, like it just instantly becomes something to sell. Like most recently with like Stanley, I forgot who was, had a Stanley Cup in their hand, some celebrity. And then next thing you know, like Stanley went crazy. I mean, it's been decent since like the summertime, but then, December hit, it just went nuts.
And then flying.
right now, just most recently, I don't know if you know the Mario red boots. Have you seen those?
I have the like Astro Boys.
Yeah, that's wild. Like those are like they retail for like 200 and they're selling for over 1,000 right now on eBay.
Yep,
it's crazy.
It's insane. Even on StockX, those are selling for over 1,000.
Did you grab any?
I have not. I actually have not really. I want to get back into that market more just for the fun of it. But I'm like fully focused on Amazon now as far as footwear. So,
yep. So how did you transition then into Amazon?
So I actually started with the way a lot of people do, just going into Goodwill, scanning used books with a yo scanner, watching Warner Field of Profit videos, just trying to figure out how to, make way to the madness. So I did that for a couple of months and then realized like the books are really good to learn some of the processes, like creating your first shipment. Because if you mess anything up, when you're selling books, you can make some 50-cent mistakes as opposed to if you go spend $1,000 and, I'm sure we can all remember our first shipment. It takes a little while to, get the ball rolling and really figure out what you're doing, especially the more inventory you have.
Yep. For sure. That's why I always preach people to start out with like Dollar Tree is where I started out because it's cheap items. If you're going to make a mistake, it's better to do that on a dollar item than like $100 item. And it's also, like you said, it takes a while to learn that process. So it's better to do that with cheaper items.
100%. And you get that proof of concept, you're like, wow,
for
I
sure.
just bought this for $1 and I'm selling it for 10. And
I made $2.
Cool. Yeah, that's how it starts.
Yeah, that's exactly how it starts. It's funny because I also started at the dollar store, and I just remember it was like a Nikki Kirk video that I saw, and that she was going to the dollar store, and she just went there for like seasonal items. And I remember the first season was St. Patrick's Day, so it's actually coming up now. And like I don't know, she just showed like some like St. Patrick's Day stickers that were like $1, but they were selling it for like $15 if you bought 3 and put them together. I was like, what? There's no way. So I went to my local like dollar store, just scanned random stuff, put it in the cart, spent maybe $20. And then next thing you know, like 2 weeks later, everything sells out. And I'm just like, oh, so this does work.
Yep.
Proof of concept.
Exactly.
Cool. So how does your business operate today?
It really varies time to time and opportunity to opportunity, but I'm mostly retail. I still do a lot of retail arbitrage as well as online arbitrage. And I'm slowly trying to transition into the wholesale space.
So I watched a video of you and Lester, and one of the things that you mentioned was just like different like coupon codes that you can use like when you do some of your RA. Like, can you kind of go like where do you find those coupon codes? Is that still something that is prevalent? Like, for example, I know we recently had Kevin KV Flips, and he was saying how like Adidas, shout out Kevin, and he was saying how like Adidas kind of like got a little stricter when it comes to their coupon codes. Have you experienced any of that? Do you have like any workarounds or?
I have heard about that. And to be honest, it really does vary store to store who you have the relationships with. A lot of, how it is in a retail based business. Like, if you're building those relationships or just at a store that is chiller, then you may be able to get away with more than other stores. As far as the coupons go, especially with Nike, it 100% just varies store to store. Some will let you use the coupons, but one thing that you can always use is your tax exempt license. So some people don't know about that or just don't use it. So you can always use that though.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like I've been selling like coming on 3 years now, and just recently, like 6, 7, 8 months ago, I realized that I can print out the form and just fill it out and use it at Nike. And like I was so hyped about it. I was like, "What? So I don't need to send this to a prep center? I can just go into the store and just get them myself."
Yep.
But is it the same for Adidas? Because I know I do it at Nike's, but I haven't tried it at Adidas.
It really varies at Adidas. I think it actually varies state to state because I've tried it in Florida, and I think it's only for nonprofit is what I've heard. It really I think it varies state to state. Nike, you should be able to use it in all 50 states. But yeah, Adidas is definitely a little bit more stricter in terms of their coupons and discounts and that type of stuff. You just got to find that workaround, think outside of the box.
Yeah, and forget about those Under Armour shoes. Like you never get any of those.
Yeah.
So Donald, are you doing all your own prep or do you utilize a prep center?
I do both. I actually just invested in a storage unit to try and prep out of, but I do use a prep center. Just some things make more sense for you to prep yourself,
Yeah, for sure. Like in my business, most of my stuff goes to my prep center, like probably 90+%. But for items that like I'm buying a lot of and they're single sticker prep and they're super cheap, so the tax doesn't really matter. I just have them sent to my house and then have it prepped in house.
100%. I think what if it's under like $22 maybe, it might make
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah, it depends on your sales tax and the prep rate, but like around $20 is a pretty
Yeah.
general number.
Yep.
Cool. So what are your primary sourcing strategies? How do you find your products?
In terms of retail arbitrage, that's kind of the beauty of the hunt. You never really know what you're going for. You just kind of go in and like you do with a Dollar Tree, you just start scanning. Eventually you might pick up an eye for stuff that you think will sell better or sells better because you bought it in the past. I mean, there can be replenishable items with retail arbitrage. And as far as OA, I like to use Seller Amp and just look around, look at different products, storefront stocking, of course. You can find a lot of good products that way.
Yeah, and actually something to touch on what you mentioned. You're right, because like at least for me in my area, the shoe that was always on sale at the Nike outlet was always the Pegasus in pink for whatever reason. And then I would go there one week, like buy them all, and then come back the next week, they'd have none, come back the week after that, and then restocked all over again. And just
Yep.
kind of kept cycling and cycling and cycling. So
I feel like all of us RA guys were on the Pegasus wave for a while there, and now they're drying out. They discontinued them. So if you can find them,
yeah, I mean it was wild for a while because at least my Nike outlet was selling them for like I think like $44 or something like
Yep.
like ridiculous like that, and they were still selling on Amazon for like 100, 110. You know, some maybe it would drop to like 97, but it was fine. At least
It
for
was
the most
worth
part.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Send
they
some
would like
people in.
yeah, and then just and as soon as they checked in, they were gone anyway. So it's not like you had to wait. It was low key like chlorine in a way.
Yeah. Good times.
Those were good times.
Oh, so first off, what's your goal for the business? Do you want to continue to grow, kind of stay where you're at?
I definitely want to continue to grow. I'm going to start working more too now towards actually starting to outsource certain things. I can teach other people, and eventually pull myself out of some of those tedious tasks that you obviously need to hire out,
Yeah.
so I can continue to scale the business. I don't know if I'll ever 100% pull myself out, but that's my goal right now, is to scale and outsource.
Yeah.
Well, Donald, since you mention it, shameless plug here. I've got the Outsource Everything program linked down below, teaching Amazon sellers how to build a business that runs itself. I'm able to work just a few hours a week on the business. Sorry, I had to drop that shameless plug.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, outsourcing is huge. I mean, you can either, scale through outsourcing or remove yourself from the business, or a combination of both. And I mean, one of those has got to be somebody's goal.
Yeah.
Or everybody's goal.
And so, Donald, I guess I have a question for you. What is, you mentioned that you want to start outsourcing and just kind of free up your time a little bit more to do other things. Like in your mind, what's like the first thing that you're going to outsource and why?
Retail arbitrage prep work is something I would definitely like to outsource because it's a very easy task that you can pretty much teach anyone how to prep and how to properly.
Mindless.
Yes, exactly. So there's no reason for me to be doing that. My high ROI activity is going out, finding and purchasing items. It's not coming back and sitting there for a week and prepping thousands of units,
Absolutely. I always recommend prep as the first thing you should outsource because it's just such a low ROI thing, like you said, and you need to be focusing on the more higher ROI, higher level stuff in your business.
And like we talked about too, especially with OA, unless something really makes sense for you to prep and it's really easy, even easier to outsource because you can just all you got to do is find a good prep center at the end of the day.
Yeah. 100%. I completely agree with you guys saying. And one thing that you mentioned earlier, like you mentioned that you don't think you'll ever stop doing RA. You kind of enjoy that aspect of things. And I'm kind of right there with you. I mean, I was at an Ollie's this past Saturday with my mom, and just finding like random treasures was like dopamine hit after dopamine hit after dopamine hit without having to get on my phone and be like on Instagram just mindlessly scrolling. And it's fun. Like at the end of the day, it really is.
The hunt.
It's a rush.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
And it's different from OA because OA you're just kind of in front of the computer half the time. You don't even know what it is, and it just makes it that much more real if it's like in your hands, or if you like find a pair of sneakers that you're like, you know what, I could actually keep a pair and use them for when I go play basketball or whatever. So I feel
that's what I do with some of the returns every once in a while.
That's what I did with this hat that I'm wearing.
Yeah, because apparel returns, I mean, you got to make sure you have good margins when it
Yep.
comes
Yeah.
to the apparel category or just certain categories in general, because what you think is a 25% ROI in reality, it's going to be a lot less after returns and stuff.
Yeah, you gotta stack it up. Rakuten points,
Yep.
tax
Yep.
free, the whole 9 yards.
hmm
For
It makes
sure.
a difference when you're picking up, larger quantity.
Yeah. Do you know what your return rate is for shoes and apparel?
I do not have an exact percentage. I honestly I need to look into it better.
I gave up shoes like completely for a while because whenever I used to sell them, my return rate was like 20%. It was
hmm
insane. I decided to get back into them though, just focusing on like higher margin because the profit is really good. And I think last time I looked, my return rate was like 11%. So not quite as bad as 20, but like that's still pretty high.
There,
I've noticed too, just depending on the apparel item, and it goes with, just certain products in general, the return rate might be higher. If you start looking into a listing more, there might be like misinformation on a listing or something, or, the wrong size. Just a lot of different things that could cause higher return rates.
and yeah, something that I noticed with apparel in general, kids' shoes and women like clothing, for whatever reason, for me, always just 50% of the time just get returned.
hmm
Like it doesn't matter what size or whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's just always ended up getting returned.
Yep.
But
Got to make sure your margins are there
yeah,
to
you have to.
combat those crazy returns.
Mhm. Those Pegasus though, man, I only got like 1 or 2 returns. Like those rarely ever got returned for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was one of those solid replens like we were
Yep.
talking about. And
hmm
they had multiple colorways if you could find them. Part of the
Yep.
treasure hunt. Go to a
Yeah.
couple different Nike outlets, get the pinks, the blacks, the grays.
But now there's like another like lime green one. That one I never ended up getting. Did you sell any of the lime green ones?
I don't think I did. I remember
Yeah.
seeing one on the shelf one time, and it was the last pair.
Yeah.
Or they just had a display pair or something. I had never even seen them before.
Yeah, it was wild. But yeah, I skipped on it too. It's okay. We're on the same boat.
So Donald, you and I met last year at the Miami Seller Conference, and now we're both
Yes,
going
sir.
back this weekend. Cisco
Mhm.
decided to be lame and not join
Did I?
us. All right, it
Yeah.
might be my fault, but what I'm getting here is, what role does networking play in your business?
I think it plays a massive aspect. Whether it be shooting ideas off of each other, holding each other accountable. It's really easy to let yourself get boxed in, especially if you're just doing online arbitrage, working from
hmm
home, sending stuff to a prep center. You could just sit here and basically talk to nobody. But it's really not going to help get you further into the business as you'd like in a sooner amount of time. So what I mean by that is, like, if you have a group of, say, like 5 people who are selling on Amazon, you can all learn from each other's mistakes. You're going to learn what might take you a year. You could learn from those mistakes in like 5 or 6 months, just having other people to learn these things from. And just, it's nice to be able to ask people questions and, like, just figure stuff out together.
Yeah, for sure. Networking is huge. We got a couple small groups that I'm in, and yeah, it's always great to be able to bounce ideas off other people.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, Mr. Beast actually has a bit on this as well. Like he had something to say, like if you like get a house with just you and your 4 friends and you're just all working for the same goal, and one of you has an issue and solves that issue one week and you tell it to all your friends, then that friend will never
Yeah,
run into
I've seen
that
this.
issue, and then they just kind of keep going back and forth, and instead of you going through 2 years of mistakes, you go through all the mistakes in the like 3 months, and you're able to
Yep,
just accelerate that much faster. So like I'm
of
with
course.
you and everything that you guys just echoed, but for me, it's all about your inner circle, your small like village of friends to kind of
hmm
keep you, propel you to the next
For
level.
sure. And shout out
Very
Mr.
true.
Beast. You bring him up on the one episode that I don't have a Beast hoodie on. I'm
I
always
did
wearing
that
that Mr.
purposefully,
Beast merch. Of
purposely
course.
done. But Donald, so what is next for you? You mentioned you're trying to get into some wholesale. Is that going to be your next focus?
That is the next endeavor, along with the outsourcing of prep and whatnot. Going to just slowly branch into that and see what we can make happen. Do you guys do any wholesale?
I do a bit. It's like 15% of my business, but I'm mostly OA.
If you consider, Costco and Sam's Club wholesale, then I dabble
Okay,
for sure. Yeah.
cool. So do you go in, are you doing like retail arbitrage based? Or I know they do have a wholesale program, correct?
Yeah, I do mostly retail arbitrage, and where I've found the most success, because if you go to have you been to a Costco or Sam's Club?
Hmm.
So like everything that they have there is like 2 packs, 6 packs, 10 packs, whatever. And so a lot of the times they have other listings that you can potentially break it down and make it that much more profitable. And
Okay.
so that's what I typically look for in most of
There's
the
so
things.
much opportunity out there, dude. It's
Yeah,
crazy. I've been
it's
meaning
wild.
to try and look into Costco more. I know that certain stores will maybe do sales that others aren't.
Mhm. Yeah. And then they do a bunch of coupons, so you can always just look through the coupon book. And then a lot of their vitamins also, like, they might have a vitamin pack that's, 100 count, but then the Amazon listing's like an 80 count. Obviously it's your own risk, but I'm sure a customer would be happy with 20 more, capsules than
Yeah,
than
yeah.
not. There's always those options. I'm a
Do you
little
ever
riskier
run
though.
into like quantity limits?
Only with chlorine back in the day. But no,
Really? Okay.
not really.
So you were around for the chlorine wave, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Chlorine cartel.
Chlorine cartel. And then they are stingy sometimes with coupons. Like they'll say you're only supposed to
Mm,
use it once. And then because technically what you could, like, this is what I did. So I'd grab the coupon book and then I would scan the coupon, and like there's a little slot you're supposed to put it in, and it's censored. But you could just like stick it in and pull it back out and then use the same coupon. So then, like, I wasn't hiding, I was just doing it. And then some lady came up to me and said, "You can't do that. You have to use one coupon per item." I was like, "I'm sure you don't want me to go over there, grab all the coupons, and just put them in there." He's like, "No, that's what you have to do." It's like, "All right." Walked up to customer service, grabbed all the little pamphlets, went through my one like little aerosol thing, ripped every single coupon out, and just stuck them in there. I was like, "This is what you wanted, so now nobody's getting a coupon."
You're like, I'll play by the rules, I guess.
Yeah, if this is what you want, I'll do it.
You
I was trying to
insist.
help you guys out, so you always have that option. So
I've done a decent amount from Sam's, and they never have order limits. Sometimes they'll have like you can only use a coupon on so many items, though. But what I like about Sam's is they actually on some items have order minimums, so you have to buy a certain amount. So it kind of helps you get that wholesale kind of feel with an arbitrage method.
Mhm.
Yeah,
trying to get that dopamine hit of wholesale, huh?
yeah,
Knew it.
for sure.
Any way possible.
Yeah. So Donald, are you big on social media? Do you plan to put out like more content or anything like that?
I do actually. My buddy Joe, shout out Amazing Asins, just hooked me up with somebody to help me do edits for reels and stuff. So I'm not eventually, I already have some stuff ready to go. I'm
Nice.
definitely going to start posting more on social media. That's another big step for me, is just getting out of that comfort zone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
Where can
Amazing
people
Asins
find
is
you?
huge.
Where can people find you on socials?
BC Kicks 23 for right now. I eventually am going to change that name. That was back from the hype shoe days.
Yeah. Are you just on Instagram?
I am, yeah.
Okay. Think you'll expand?
I'll probably need to get a Twitter going and stuff.
Yeah, shorts have been popping lately on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yep.
Shorts have been popping. What's the name that you plan to use? You said you're going to change the shoe handle.
I have no idea yet.
No. All right, let me know first so I can get the domain and I'll sell it to you.
Just trying to flip whatever we can.
Yeah, man.
Yep. By any means necessary.
All right. Well, I think we're at that time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.